Yeah, so that's actually a very open-ended question, and something that probably there are going to be talks of hours and hours on end, especially from a project management perspective. But there are some key, I would say, variables or dimensions that can be looked at when you are assessing whether or not your organization is ready to take over or take up certain new technologies. One of the key things is the leadership team, because at the end of the day, the vision comes from the leadership themselves. So their vision about what they want to do, how they want the company to progress, and what they're looking for from those technologies is very, very important. It needs to be very clear in their mind, documented very clearly, and then communicated so that the entire organization has bought in. So that's the first thing. Second thing that they need to take care of is the organizational culture, because I would say organizational culture and change management in general, because bringing in new technologies oftentimes is a huge change across the organization, especially when you're bringing in ERP systems, for example, like NetSuite. So in that instance, having that buy-in from the rest of the organization, the user base, is very, very important. The leadership is going to give the vision, sure, but at the end of the day, it's the functional leaders and then the end users that are going to be the ones that use that technology. So having their buy-in, having their confidence in that particular project is very, very important. And oftentimes I've seen companies that have failed in integrating these new technologies primarily because they did not get that buy-in from the user base. The leadership decided and they went ahead with it, and the users were not ready in that case. So that's very important. Then you gotta assess your skills and competencies, because with these new systems now, you need a new skill set, or people with that skill set that can even manage those systems. Yes, there are companies that are going to provide you that support, consulting companies, implementation companies such as Efficiency, that are going to come in, conduct their analysis, do the implementation, and even provide support services. But at the end of the day, it is your organization that's going to have to live with that sort of a system. So it's important for you to have those in-house capabilities that would allow you to then take that system forward, because when you initially implement it, it's going to feel like a big task, and then over time you will get to improve that system as well. And if you don't have those internal capabilities for people to be able to take up that system, understand it to a level or a specific level that they can then improve it, it's going to make your life very difficult. So that's also one of the key things that they have to understand. Then I guess from a financial perspective, it's very important to understand whether the organization is financially ready to take up that sort of a challenge. Oftentimes in these projects, things don't go according to plan. So you might have set aside a specific budget, but then when you get into the project, it might end up being way more than you anticipated. Obviously, you're going to try to control that as much as possible. Even the partners that you're working with, in that case, you can leverage their knowledge from the get-go to understand what the entire project is going to entail, how big of an undertaking is this. But you need to have a backup in your mind as well as to how you will proceed in terms of budgeting for this project. And if it goes over, then how much leverage do you have, or how much breathing room do you have in this case when the project eventually goes over. So for financially being ready and being at that place where it's not an issue, or you have budgeted accordingly, you have a buffer zone there, that's going to help you a lot in ensuring that you do go live, and you go live smoothly, and you can come up with, you can get over some of the bumps that are going to come up. Now, along with that, I can honestly keep on going for quite a while, but these are some of the key things. On top of that, you have to kind of look at what your current IT infrastructure is. Where does your data live? Is it in just Excel files, Word documents, or is there an existing system that you're upgrading from? If it is in this kind of an open format of Excel files, etc., are they in proper places for you to access? And if it's sort of an existing system that you are, in this case, upgrading from, then does that existing system have the capabilities to export that data for you, so that you can then bring it over to that new system? And while you're doing that, keeping in mind that that's also an opportunity for you to cleanse that data. Maybe you were doing certain things before that were not best practices, or people were not following certain processes. So having that is going to be, keeping that in mind is going to be very, very important for you. And then when you are able to bring that clean data into the new system, you can use that system in a much more productive fashion, and it can become more effective. Because at the end of the day, the system itself is not going to make any decisions for you. Instead, it's going to be the data that you put in. Then the system will allow you to analyze that data and get those outputs. So if the data that's coming in is not necessarily clean, it's not good data, that will inadvertently affect whatever output you get from that system. So the system in this case is only as good as how you use it. It cannot do things on its own for you. So yeah, those are some of the things. And then along with that, obviously, certain things you're going to come across as you go forward when you kind of embark on this journey. You will learn a lot of things, and you will also realize certain elements that you probably did not think of before. So in that case, consultants and companies like Efficiency can really help out because of the experience that these companies possess in doing these things time and time again, every single day. That's basically their job. So they are aware of certain pitfalls that they can kind of inform you about, and you can be proactive rather than reactive to those situations.